Welcome back to Local 4 Plus Live, everyone. All right, well, something we can't ignore, and that is the Taylor Swift effect.
Oh, yes.
Right, it's far-reaching, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. So we're talking about from her crazy successful Eras tour to her relationship with Travis Kelce, which seems to have everybody's attention. This woman has single-handedly revived the NFL. How crazy is that? Now I'm sure you're more into football than I am.
Listen, I'm a person where, I was watching football anyway, but now there are people that have never cared about football that just want to see what's going on. And then it's like a whole lot of new questions now. Like, hey, what does that guy do? What is his? You know what I mean? So it's just. Listen, I'm sure NFL is loving it. I'm just like, hey, let's do it. Let's go. New friends.
It's good for them. I mean, I want to say she was on the banner of their Twitter page or something that. You don't play. You're not a football player. You're a pop star, but I'm not mad at it at all. But that just shows you that Swifties cannot get enough. So I'm co-hosting this week with Candace Davis-Price, who is a world champion track star. And she told me how she went into a local sporting goods store for something, right? I don't know if it's for one of her athletes or whatever. And at the front of the store was Kansas City Chiefs gear.
Right.
Paraphernalia, I'll say, and the Lion stuff was in the back. How's the Lion stuff in the back?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? We're having a good season.
Yeah.
And their stuff is the Taylor Swift effect, okay? So today we are going to take a closer look at how we can actually learn from Taylor and her system of navigating her career and the accompanying fame. Now joining us is Debbie Peterson, friend of the show and author of the new book, The Leadership Secrets of Taylor Swift. Good morning, and thank you for being back with us on Local 4 Plus Live.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to be here today because you are one of the great young leaders in Detroit, and Taylor Swift is one of the great young leaders, and we don't think of her as a leader, but she actually, as you have said, she's universally loved. It's not just the guys who love her, but it's the teenagers, and it's the 20-somethings, and then the 20-somethings and their mothers who go to their concerts, and then their grandmothers. Even the great-grandmothers know who Taylor Swift is, and they really respect her. And she leads by example. And that's why I always say, if you want to be a better leader, you need to lead like Taylor Swift with Taylor Swift's secrets. And SWIFT is an acronym. So we can use that as a formula for our conversation today. S is for strength of character, and she clearly has that. When she changed record companies, she couldn't take her old recordings with her. And it was devastating for her because she expected that her new company would be able to buy those records and bring them with her, buy her old company, and it didn't work. It didn't happen, and she wasn't expecting that. What she did is really interesting. She didn't let it get her down. She just went and re-recorded them. And that was something that everybody said you can't do. It's never been done. And she made music industry history because she was willing to do something that everyone said couldn't be done. And it makes me think of what you were talking about earlier. Oh, will I get in trouble? And I don't think that I think she outgrew that one.
Right.
We'll talk about that a little later.
We will, but let me ask you this though, Debbie. I have to ask, what do you think is the appeal of Taylor Swift? I mean, because you mentioned it, she crosses generational lines. I think she's beautiful. She shows, she's conservative enough, shows just enough skin. Her music is palatable enough. But what do you think it is that really attracts people to Taylor Swift like this?
I think it's her humanity. She's so out there and she just expresses herself. She says who she is. And again, like you said, so many of us are afraid to do that. And I think especially women. Yeah. And it's refreshing, and it reaches you at the heart level when people do that.
So let me ask you this. How did you recognize these leadership skills in her? Because you are a very accomplished woman. You were mayor of a city, the first woman mayor of a city in California. You've written books, you're doing all of these things, but what made you look at Taylor Swift and say, she's got some good leadership qualities and I'm going to write a book about it?
the reason I really wanted to talk about Taylor Swift is because I have a lot of respect for her, and I realized that my 20-something son and his girlfriend really like her as well. And I've been really wanting to reach millennials. I was the mayor when I was in my 50s, and I just feel like we've got to get these millennial women to understand that the gifts they have can really make a difference, like Taylor Swift's have. And she's really influenced people. And that's part of that strength of character.
Right.
And it's also the issue about women, which is quite phenomenal, and it doesn't get into the news, but the three happiest countries in the world are led by millennial women, and it's a phenomenon. And Taylor Swift is part of that phenomenon, and that's what really excites me, because millennial women, this is your time. This is when
Right.
you can lead. This is when you get out there and show your stuff. Just like Taylor Swift, she tells us how to do that. And it's something that I was able to do as the first, as you say, the first elected woman mayor of
Hmm.
my town, was to really get out there and get into those meetings. And even when they were very, very volatile meetings, I was able as a woman, use those gifts that we have that others don't have to make that big difference. And I would love to see other young women emulate Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I think it could benefit women of all ages. So let's get back to your acronym. We have S for strength of character, W for being a woman and using those, innate skills that we have. Now let's talk about integrity.
Integrity is the internal one. When Taylor Swift was 19 years old, she said, I never smoked a cigarette. I never drank. I never touched a drop of alcohol. I had no interest in doing that. And I would not be able to lie to my parents about that. And she's not 19 anymore. We know that. However, she's retained that quality of integrity, and that's an internal quality. That's the one where you go to bed at night and you don't lose sleep over who you are and what you've done. That is your gift to yourself. It's
Yeah.
where you do the right thing, even if no one ever sees you. It's where you do the right thing, even if everybody is really annoyed with you and hates it. And when I was the mayor of my city, I was able to do that. I was able to stand up to corruption. And like Taylor Swift, whose fans backed her when she did that, there were a lot of people in my city who came forward and backed me when I stood up to the corruption.
That's impressive. Please go
And
on.
then you went on to the other thing that Taylor Swift did or is doing, taking over the NFL. That's
Yes.
F, fun. And yes, of course, she's an entertainer, but she does what she loves to do. And she's so good at it that she actually became America's favorite pop star. And so the question that I would ask young women who want to know Taylor Swift's leadership secrets is, when's the last time you did something that was just fun? When's the last time you did something that you loved doing? Because that's how you'll have fun. And that's what I loved most about being the mayor, is that I could meet with people who I would probably never have met with before. And one of the most interesting groups was the surf riders, because the surf riders were were coming to me and they were saying, hey man, we're going out in that water and we're coming back in and we're getting sick. There's something up at that sewer plant. And then they'd come to all the meetings and they'd say the same thing. And they were right. There was something up. There was some corruption there. And that was the fun. Take the time to have the fun and do those things that you love. And the final one is transformation. Uh, Excellent leaders are willing to transform, and they're willing themselves, and they're willing to transform the rest of the world. And Taylor Swift did that even when she was in middle school. Her classmates laughed at her because she loved country music. I probably would have been one of those people. And she stuck with it. And she became so good at it, as you said, she became America's favorite pop star. And that's one of the reasons that I say millennial women can do this. Stick with what you love and transform the world. So if you want to be a greater leader, make sure that you learn the secrets, the leadership secrets of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean, you honestly, I wouldn't have thought of it in this way, the way you've presented it to us. I mean, I definitely admired her. I admire her success. I was really rooting for her when she was like, oh, my former management owns all my old music. I'll just re-record everything. I mean, I loved that about her. I loved it about her because she wasn't going to let anything stop her. So I definitely admired certain things that she did. But when you put it all together like this, there's a lot that we can all learn from her. And these are all great points. But do you think that sometimes we look up to celebrities a little too much? I mean, she's a great example, but not everybody is.
Well, obviously, we don't want to be worshiping them. But the beauty of Taylor Swift is that she's a role model, and she encourages us to be who we are and say who we are and have the courage of our convictions. And we just did the last 5 anagrams here, but they're the others. They're the other 6 that go with the Taylor in Taylor Swift. And I don't know. I don't think that in Taylor's case, it's a bad thing to be looking up to her. I think she's a wonderful inspiration. And I was inspired looking at what she's already done, and she's so young, and inspired to know that people can look up to people like you. They can look up to people like Taylor. They can look up to people like me and learn those leadership secrets and be better leaders.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where her career is going to go. I see her being some kind of mogul, even a bigger mogul behind the scenes in the future someday. Yeah.
I hope so. And yeah, I hope so. And I think one of the most fun things about her story was that the first release that she re-recorded and called them Taylor's version was Fearless. And I think that's where millennial women, the biggest thing I always think of is that they're held back by that fear. And that's the one thing that I always had to do as mayor, was just stand up to that fear and not let it get in my way. And that is definitely one of the leadership secrets.
Yeah, well, you lived it, that's for sure. So these are all backed by someone who actually did all of these things. So Debbie, where can people get a copy of the book?
At mayordebbie.com, anywhere on Amazon.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We're just showing on Amazon what the cover of the book looks like. It's amazing. Great tips from you as always. Thank you so much for being with us.
I would love talking with you about the leadership secrets of Taylor Swift.
Well, hopefully we'll be talking about something else very soon. Thanks again.
Looking forward to it.
Same here.
What an incredible young lady.
She's great.
And no offense to Taylor, I was talking about Debbie.
That's right. That's who we were actually talking about. Taylor Swift is amazing.
Yeah.
But the way she puts it all together makes it so much more like palatable,
Absolutely.
right? Like